Tutorial number 30, drill 24. In this tutorial I'm going to be discussing the safety aspects of the theory syllabus, though not strictly theory. It involves theory and whether you know how to safely change a fuse and what to change a fuse with and so on. So I think the best thing for us to do here is to go straight into the question sets, because we have done the theory already, and this will be like a revision of the theory focusing on the safety aspects, all of which are questions that you could get in your assessment. Section 24, Safety. 24.1, the standard colour code used to identify the earth conductor of a flexible 3-chord AC power cord is, I'm sure you know, green, yellow. I won't tell you what the others are because I'm sure we're going to get a question on that coming up as we go through this. So green, yellow is the earth lead, and the earth lead is there for safety. 24.2, the standard colour code used to identify the active conductor of a flexible 3-core AC cord is, well, the active is brown. I don't know if we'll have it coming up, but blue is the neutral. And green, yellow, of course. Oh, good spelling. I can spell, it's typing I can't do. The neutral is blue, the active is brown, and the earth is green, yellow. The active should always have a switch in it, and the active should also have a fuse in it as well. 23.3, the main reason for earthing mains powered equipment is to avoid shock hazards. 24.4, the most important reason for a replacement fuse to have exactly the same rating as the original is so that you maintain the required overcurrent protection. Fuses work on current, not voltage. It's the current running through the fuse that melts the fuse at a certain current and opens the circuit for safety reasons, stops the transceiver or whatever it is from catching on fire. 24.5, beryllium compounds are sometimes used in power transistor heatsink paste. We don't use beryllium compounds anymore. The white paste that we use under heatsinks is not beryllium in modern equipment, but as a radio amateur you may come across old equipment and you could end up having to remove a heatsink to replace a transistor. Just be aware that if the heatsink compound is beryllium, that it is extremely dangerous to human health. Be very careful, wear gloves, don't get it in your mouth, on your face or on your skin. .6, an amateur standard transmitter has blown a 5 amp 12 volt automotive fuse. The correct replacement for this is a 5 amp 12 volt automotive fuse. Always replace fuses with ones of the same type, the same current rating in particular. 24.7, RF radiation from transmitting equipment increases in danger with increased frequency. Well, that's true. Can cause tissue damage in the short term. That's true. Can cause accumulative eye damage. That is also true, and that's the one you really got to watch out for, particularly with handheld radios and aerials close to your eye. You can cause cumulative eye damage. So the answer to that question is all of the above. Question 24.8, excessive volume when wearing headphones can cause damage to human hearing. 24.9. During a thunderstorm, it is good practice to disconnect all antennas. 24.10. Antennas should be installed, let's have a look, so that they are secure and suitably located away from electricity poles and wires. Pretty much common sense safety, isn't it? 24.11. Antenna erection is potentially dangerous and should be carried out by an experienced person. 24.12. The safe distance from an antenna depends upon the power, frequency and proximity and antenna type. So it's how much power is being used. More power, the more dangerous it is. The higher in frequency, the more dangerous it is. The closer you are, or your proximity to the antenna, the closer the proximity, the higher the danger. And the antenna type could be a directional antenna focusing all the radiation in one direction, and that would make it more dangerous as well. .13. Electromagnetic waves can be dangerous, and the risk increases with the frequency, power and distance to the antenna, or proximity to the antenna. 24.14. When positioning an antenna for an amateur radio station, it is important that people be at a safe distance during operation. Looks to me like the correct answer. I'm just checking. That is the correct answer. 24.15. Most rechargeable batteries can explode and give off noxious fumes if punctured or short-circuited. I remember one day I was driving in Sydney with a handheld radio in the console, which I had on charge through the battery charger, and I was in heavy traffic in the middle of Sydney, George Street, and it went short-circuit, and the cabin of the motor vehicle filled up. It was peak hour too. The cabin of the motor vehicle filled up with very, very noxious fumes in a matter of a few seconds. I had to stop and get out of the vehicle as quickly as possible. It was that bad. So be very careful not to short circuit or puncture. And the cells I was using, by the way, were nickel cadmium cells. But just about any battery, if it's short circuited or punctured, it can give up all of its energy in a very short period. That causes the chemicals in it to boil. And those fumes from those chemicals can be very, very dangerous. 24.16. In an emergency case of electric shock and after switching off the power, CPR might need to be administered. That's after switching off the power. 24.17. In the case of electric shock emergency, the first thing to do is, the very first thing is to switch off the power. 24.18. A well-designed amateur radio station has a clearly marked single mains off switch. 24.19. Frayed mains leads should be repaired by an authorised person or a qualified person, which is typically an electrician. 24.20. When constructing an amateur radio station, power leads should be uncoiled as short as possible and not create a trip hazard. The reason why you want power leads uncoiled is because coiled they can produce heat, and I've seen extension leads on heavy current drain actually melt the insulation and the wires short circuit. 24.21. If a fuse blows in an electronic device, it should be replaced by a fuse of the same type and current rating. 2422, a fuse protects equipment against excessive current and heat damage. Excuse me. 2423, mains-powered radio communications equipment should have, where necessary, a good electrical earth connection to prevent shock hazard. 2424, all electrical appliances connected to the electricity mains supply must have an electricity authority or electrical approval label. Last question for the theory and standard. 2425. An important consideration when installing a radio transmitter in a vehicle is the potential for interference to the engine management system. There we go for safety, and that's the end of the standard theory. You've still got your regulations, or if you've just got the standard theory course, you need to contact us for the regulations component. And don't forget to test yourself on this last drill is drill number 24. Thank you for listening. This is Ron, VK2DQ. Cheers for now.